I suppose the thing with Munster is you look at last weekend and you think, geez, that's a really good 23. You actually wouldn't want to play that 23 when everyone's available and fit. And that's the frustrating thing for me, reflecting on the Champions Cup campaign this year. Because you're right, internally, Munster do judge themselves at Champions Cup level. That's their barometer. Like they want to be challenging and winning Champions Cup. Not to dismiss the URC at all. I thought it was an amazing journey and amazing victory. But they want to be competitive in Europe in Champions Cup. And it was just so frustrating that they did not get that 23 at all this season. Really, you look at the pool stages, they were crippled by injuries in the winter, obviously missing so many key guys for the Northampton game. And then you watch what they do in Pretoria last weekend. And I know there was a red card in, and we'll come to the specifics, but actually they had a really good first half to lead. And then they finished really strongly with an actual bench this time. It's been a big issue all season that they haven't had that punch and that impact. So yeah, I think it'll be really interesting to see how it goes next season. Obviously more change on the way, but if they can get a little bit more luck, they can certainly and get a little bit more luck on the injury front. They can certainly be more competitive than they have been. And we've acknowledged all the stuff they can do better in terms of their performance. Of course they can in the Champions Cup. But I thought last weekend was a really convincing reminder that this is, when they're all fit in harness, a really good team.
Yeah, no, I absolutely. And once you saw the team named, you kind of knew this was going to be a very tricky game for the Bulls. But probably it's absolutely, they got riddled with injuries this year, and it was a freak year. But realistically, when I look at that squad, Murray, and I look at next year's squad in particular, that's why I said it's a bit of a mess, because Frisch will be gone. I know Munster, like this is people. There's a game being played here, and it's around negotiating a transfer fee, right?
It was Mike Prendergast.
No, look, it's like if it's one of, it should be one of the modules of coaching school is actually how you handle this, and absolutely Mike has to, and Munster have to try and get as much as possible. But the reality is, I would be absolutely shocked if Frisch and being speaking to people in France, they're assuming he'll be gone. He'll probably get capped for France this summer. That's not Munster's fault, but it's a mess when it happens, right? It's disasters, and they've got a brilliant player, and he's probably going to be gone, right? Zebo, we're led to believe, will be gone. Okay, Snyman is definitely gone. We're led to believe Eoin will be gone. Carberry's gone. I know they've signed Billy Burns, but Carberry, at his best, is better than Billy Burns, I would say. Obviously, you could argue otherwise, but that's my opinion. And Connor and Pete are, probably their last year or two of their contracts. So what I'm saying is, you kind of, you could cross your fingers and hope you have less injuries than they had, which was obviously pretty extreme. But realistically, for me, in terms of a European winning squad, it looks a bit threadbare. When you look at next year's squad at the moment, right? Now maybe obviously they've got Keegan coming in, which is positive. But when you take into account over the last couple of years, they've lost Earls and Conway as well. They're two big players for them. Klein, there's lots of talk about his injury being more serious maybe than, or being more serious. We haven't been told anything bad about it, but being a serious enough injury. So that's what I'm saying is, I actually think this year's squad, the squad that played against the Bulls, can go toe to toe with most teams in Europe. But unfortunately, rugby would tell you that there's going to be attrition, and you need backup. And I think that's where they look light. And that's what I want Munster to get more funding, to give Roundtree and Prendergast a chance to not just win a URC, to go toe to toe with the La Rochelles, the Toulouses, etc. And I know it's not simple because the game is the money's in short supply. But I would actually argue that there's a great time to go to the market now, because you get really good players for a good price, and that's what Irish rugby should be looking to do. And the schools question, you're right. Generally, Leinster have a year and a half or a year to make a decision about those kids when they come out of school, and that has been quite protected. And the reality is, people say, population, right? So do we just say population in favours Leinster, the rest need to go home? No, we need to look at that population and work out how we can be creative in terms of trying to spread that talent a little bit more evenly. If that's where most of the talent is, if that's where the ones that can actually go and get you central contracts. And then obviously a Jack Crowley. Like, I've no doubt Jack Crowley's going to get a central contract. That's great. You know what I mean? But we've known about Jack Crowley for the last 3 years anyway. Like, where's the next Jack Crowley? How can Munster get to the stage where they've got 5 or 6 central contracts again on merit? Because I've no doubt Andy Farrell is picking players on merit. And that's how I feel about it. So it's a really good chance for Humphreys to look at this again and try and work out. But look, I know there's obvious benefits for Team Ireland having the cohesion of having one team feeding into it at the level Leinster do. But I think we just need to be careful that the other 3 are supported. And I know it's not easy; it's money, but I don't think it's just money. I think it's actually looking at the whole pathway and how we can maybe adapt that a little bit.